Welcome back, AfterBuzzers. I'm expecting that you have already watched episode 4. If you have not, hop on back over to Netflix and watch episode 4, because this one gets a little risque. Everybody is saying yes, and you want to say yes to this after show, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, this one got saucy.
They just keep pushing that envelope, don't they? I love it. I love it. It's been so fun watching.
Good. I mean, the 80s were wild and free, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, they went wild and free in this episode. Welcome back to the After Show, guys. My name is Candice Cruz, and I'm joined with the lovely, epic, wonderful, fantastic. I don't know how many more adjectives I can give you, my dear. One of the original Glow girls, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. Little Egypt is joining me right here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
I love doing this with you. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it has been. And we've been on from the
great.
beginning. Like,
I know.
From every show, you
Season
and I.
3.
I know. Here we are.
Crazy. I know. Well, episode 4 was even crazier. I think this is about the biggest envelope push that we've ever had on this show, and I was here for it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I was here for it.
Oh my God! I mean, I was like embarrassed. I'm blushing. I'm smiling. I'm giggling, and I'm just like, yikes!
I feel like we were having a sleepover watching all these shows. Yeah. I mean, what character do we start with? Because clearly everybody decided to get it on this episode.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everybody had some fun.
Well, Jackie was early on.
Well, let's just talk about Jackie, because she was the most fun out of all of them.
Yeah.
Because Jackie, I mean, listen, she lets her freak flag fly at all times. She has always been that way. That's her character, and we love her for it.
Yeah.
And she decides she's going to get dolled up and go to the bar. I can't get over this whole scenario, because I mean, kudos to her for a guy. She's like trying to get him. And I love that you were like, is this how it really works? Like her laughing really loud and he comes over to her. I was like, it depends. Dating world's a little, it's a wild, wild west out there. But I've never had this scenario happen to me where she, thank God, that she's sitting at the bar and this guy comes up to her and she thinks that he thinks she's a hooker.
Yeah.
But she's okay with it.
Well, that's kind of funny too, because it's like you're on house money, and that's like a Vegas term. It's like once you're winning, and now you're playing with money that doesn't even belong to you. So here she is. She got the ask, right? She's like, okay, the guy likes me as much as I like him. He's digging me, and now he's going to pay me for my service,
right? Because it's like, listen, I was going to do it for free anyway, but if you're going to pay me, I'll take the money.
All right, that's fine.
Sure, why not? And she even goes and tells her roommate, she's like, I need you to stay out of the room. I know he thinks I'm a hooker. I'm going to go for it.
God.
I mean, kudos to her. That is a confident woman.
That is definitely.
Right there to have that much confidence going into the scenario. But then we get to the bedroom. And oh, did we get to the bedroom?
Wow. Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words, Little Egypt.
Well, first it was like a typical sex scene,
right.
Guys on top, and Jackie.
Literally, like
Melrose,
it's A, B, C equal A plus B equals C.
Yeah, exactly. And she looks beautiful. We're like, oh my God, another set of breasts, and they're beautiful. Good for you, girl. You're rocking. And then he pops off in all his glory, and it was just.
And I thought that he gets up sideways, and I'm like, oh, they're not going to show it. It's not going to show it. He doesn't just show it. He's standing there for a good few minutes, just letting it hang.
Line after line. That was like, it felt like several minutes. We kept thinking, wow, he's
gutsy.
Yeah. He's like,
that is the best word to say it. Because, I mean, look, men never, I don't want to say never, but 90% of the time do not have to show anything other than they're behind in nudity scenes. Mm-hmm. And for him to show it, and a lot of times they also use prosthetics if they have to show anything, and he's just in all his glory standing there.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah. Because it turns out he's a male prostitute.
There's the rub. There it is. He's the prostitute. But I love the way he approached it.
Yeah.
He had a great approach.
Yeah.
He said, so do we feel like $200 warrants this service? She's like, yeah, that works. He's like, okay, well then do you want to go get cash? Do you want to go play with a check? She's like, excuse me? But I love the conversation afterwards. She's like, Right. But it's also, question for you, is this a double standard?
Oh, I never even thought of it like that.
Well, I mean, granted, because there was no miscommunication, totally. Like, I would be saying the same thing. I'd be like, I thought you were paying me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, who's to say? You don't see very many male prostitutes, but there are some out there. Yeah. Like, is this a double standard that she should be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then, he performed a service, right? And I thought, why aren't they just, like, breaking even now? Like,
yeah, 100, 100.
Yeah, why did he keep looking for the paycheck? Like, what?
I love that she's like, oh, you're an artist now? Is that what you're doing? You're an artist? But it's interesting because it's like, there was a misunderstanding, so yeah, they should have broken even.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what's to say that, like, I'm sure men have been put in this situation before where women are like, okay, now pay me. And they're like, I'm sorry, wait, what? I didn't realize that's what I was signing up for. I'm sure that there have been,
Yeah.
And now it's on the opposite hand. Is it a double standard?
I don't know. Did it feel like one?
No, I mean, they were both willing parties.
Yeah,
so, like, it's not in that type of situation. But I don't know what I would do in that type of scenario.
Totally uncomfortable and weird.
I'd be like, bye.
Wow.
Sorry. Yeah. And also the way that she was like, well, it seemed like you enjoy yourself. And you finished. And he was like, it's a physiological response. Listen, I mean, you still won. So do you really need your money?
Oh my God, that was
I don't know.
hilarious.
That was a priceless scene, and kudos to both of those actors for like dropping and being so serious. Yet that's when it's the most funny.
Yeah,
is that because they did not like make it into a comedic like tongue in cheek kind of thing? It was very like grounded.
Yeah. Yeah, like, what do you mean I owe you money?
I don't owe you money. You owe me money.
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that was fun.
That was...
Yeah, that was priceless.
I mean, okay, so that's obviously one of the sex pieces, and we know that Debbie's been having her fair share. She's very taken care of, to say the least.
Yeah, she's just...
But you know what? Good on her. That's for me, like, it may be, now that we've seen, obviously, in the previous episode where she's having the issue with bulimia and self-esteem issues, I don't know if it's coming from the best place. I don't know. Because I think, like, if a woman's strong and she's in her right mindset and she's, like, she can do whatever she wants. Like, if she wants to do that, by all means. But if she's doing it to, like, cover up and put a Band-Aid on it, I don't know if it's the best thing for her. I guess we'll see throughout the season. But, like... Listen, she's living her best life right now. She's divorced. She's on a show. She's got really attractive bellmen.
Well, what's interesting is the scene with her and Cherry Bang, right? When she was
at the very end, yeah.
Was that at the end?
That was in the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was really interesting, both of them in their place, because here Cherry Bang now is without Keith. Poor thing. She's still really hurting about that. She's blasting her music. Debbie's hurting in her own way. And then Debbie in the pellet, like, she couldn't say it out loud. She didn't want to put it in the universe. Like, she didn't want to say, I think my life would have been better if I didn't have a child, because she loves her child. She would never change it. But the fact that at least she was honest enough to yell it in a pillow, like, oh, what if I didn't? What would my life look like?
I think that's a conversation, that's an interesting conversation that more women need to have, because like, as much as you, like you said, you love your children, you lose your independence.
You do.
Completely. So like, you don't have your own identity anymore. Like 100% you do, but like they're still like obviously always your children. And I think they even alluded to it in the previous episode when Cherry is having that figuring out whether or not she wants to have a child at the dance studio with that new character where she's like, do you regret it? And then the kids come in but the look that woman gave Cherry said it all.
Yeah.
I lost my career. I lost my livelihood. I lost my identity because I wanted to do this. Doesn't mean I love my child any less, but like,
I know that might be the double standard right there.
I mean, I think there's so many in life. We could go on for days about those.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting like conversation for the two of them, and like obviously the truth comes out when you're high. or you're drunk or anything, or even like Ruth's boyfriend, which we'll get more into their conversation about their relationship in a second. But he even says every joke is lined with the truth. Yep. So people have their way of getting the truth out regardless at all times. Yeah. But I loved that moment, that beautiful moment of the two of them laying in bed and like just finally talking about where they're both at. Yeah. And that friendship bonding too.
Yeah. They're definitely growing into a new place. Yeah. It's going to be so interesting. God, I wonder how they're both going to do.
Do you think that Cherry will go back with Keith and have a baby?
Well, she said something really interesting. She had said, when I miscarried, Keith said that it's okay as long as we're together, right? And why did things change? Like, why can't they still be just as amazingly happy with or without a child? Why did all of a sudden now having a child become so important to Keith?
I think it was more on her side, to be honest.
To have a child?
Yeah, no, I think for her, that's the reason why they're broken up. Not in a bad way, but it, like, I mean, we have to. If they're both equal parties here. Yeah. Like, come on, it's not just like. Of course, the woman is the one having the baby and everything else, but when you're married, it's a mutual decision. And if you're both not on equal playing fields, then where do you go? And like, he really wanted a child. Yes, it's okay. Like, we'll get through this because you miscarried, but he never said he didn't want children later on.
True.
We'll wait as long as you need, but I still want children.
Right.
And then now she's changing the script and deciding she doesn't want any. That's not very fair to him.
That's why he left. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You know, like I try to like, I know as much as I'm like, I'm very big like feminist and I love women, but at the same time, like sometimes you got to realize that the men want children and have emotions too. They do. Clearly Keith left because of his emotions in the last episode. Yeah. So, but I think it's just as important for Cherry to figure out her own journey. Yeah. But I don't know.
Better to be honest though, right? Yeah. Even if the story changes, right? Even if what you can't come into a relationship and then the story changes along the way, just being honest is so much better than just giving someone what they want because you think they want it. That's true. That's what Debbie was saying was with her relationship is she brought a child into the world trying to keep her husband from walking out the door. Yep. And now
he's still going to step over the baby. Exactly. And still do the exact same thing. So, it's so fascinating. Humans are fascinating creatures. And before we run out of time, because we've already been talking about this a lot, there's two more situations I want to talk about. We've got Bobby, who I love, so we'll save him for last. And then Ruth and her boyfriend.
Oh my God, that was so fun. Like, okay, I just love, I mean, they're having this long distance relationship, right? They're talking on the phone every night.
Which the fact that they're talking every night is totally telling of the times because no one talks on the phone every night out here now.
And then you had to pay long distance charges. So, I mean, they were spending all their money on long distance. So he comes out for a visit and Ruth is just like, she's just like, should we move in together? Should we, they go to the pawn store. She's looking at engagement rings.
And I don't think she meant to look at engagement rings, so that poor guy forced her to. But she got caught.
Well, it slipped out for sure. Like, I think she was just like, should I, are we taking our relationship to the next level or are we not? Like, we can't have a long distance relationship. So are we going to, are we going to
move in together? Or not? Yeah. I don't know if she actually wants to move in with him. I think she wants to be with Sam.
Oh,
I think that she is covering up the relationship with Sam with her boyfriend. Right. So she's like, oh, we should get together and like move in together and play house so that I don't have to realize my true feelings for Sam.
Right. So her boyfriend becomes a Band-Aid. Basically. He's just a big fat Band-Aid.
Everybody's putting Band-Aids on Glow, and it's not from the wounds in the ring.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
Like that.
Yeah. You're on your way. Oh, but yeah, that whole thing with just really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, I like the way that they were having conversations, and he was very honest. He's like, you're so obsessed with Sam. He even sees it. Everyone sees it. She sees it, and she doesn't want it. Yeah. I think she wants it. I just don't think she feels like it's the right thing.
Because she's making age an issue. That was the only thing that she had an issue with, and that came out in the jacuzzi. She was just like, you're older. And that's what she's basing her love on is his age.
But I love them together.
I know they were
need
perfect.
them to be together.
Yeah.
Oh, but that leads perfectly into, obviously we're at Bobby's show.
Yeah.
The lovely drag queen.
Yeah.
She is fantastic. And she is the great observer. I love her because she sees everything for what it is and who they are and calls no BS on it.
Oh, yeah. And I have to tell you, like, for those OG Glow fans out there, especially if you ever went to see Glow live at the Riviera Hotel, we had a showroom, and the showroom right next to us was La Cage. And that was Frank Marino's show, and Frank Marino dressed up as Joan Rivers, and he was a huge draw. Gosh, they were there forever. They were there before even Glow came. They were there after Glow left. And shout out to the screenwriters and anyone who did the backstory research on this. Thank you. That was really awesome to see the showroom. We were given free tickets. We could go see that show anytime we wanted. Aww. We were given free buffet tickets.
I would go watch those ladies all day, every day. I love them.
And
They're amazing.
They knew us. They'd recognize our faces, and it was and it was more than just a one-person act. By the way, it was a big act, and it drew big time, and they were super famous in Las Vegas. And I love that you guys did that. Thank you, Glow writers, and whoever came up with that on the creative side, because that makes it that much more authentic to to what this is based on. I understand it's not a true documentary of the story that's already on Netflix. They don't have to do that again. But what it is, it's just like being inspired by the original story and bringing it down to the nuts and bolts of what it was like without without they're walking a fine line. I love it.
Yeah. And back with Bobby too, what I love so much, because there are so many different facets that went into his character of, like, obviously the women go to see the show. He's very bluntly honest with Debbie about all the bellmen, with Ruth and her boyfriend of, like, you need to go in, like, he's coming to visit you for a weekend. You know exactly what he's coming for, so go do it.
Right.
And then really seeing Sheila and, like, that groundedness, but yet she knows how to run a show, and she's like, okay, this is bringing down the energy. Let me bring it back up, but we need to talk, type of thing. Yeah. And let me put the mirror on you for a second. But obviously, I love when, Bash is introduced to Bobby, and he's like, listen, I would love for you to see my show, and, like, I would love to be part of Bash's productions. And this is where I got brokenhearted. Yeah. Like, this is really hard scene where Bash is sitting there and watching her perform as Liza, and then dropped-faced, this is not a Bash production. Yeah. And he walks out. And I'm like, and Sheila's obviously sitting in the background. But that's, to me, where we really get the telltale sign that Bash is not comfortable in his sexuality at all. And even Bobby made the reference, like, Bobby didn't even know him from Adam, because all he's heard is that this Bash guy is signing all these magicians that are now going to be part of the show, which I think is really cool. And he did some cool tricks. And you've got jugglers in the elevator, and he's happy about everybody. And then he meets Bash, and he's like, oh, yeah, my wife too. Ha, ha, ha. And then he realizes he's serious. So obviously he knows that he's gay when he meets him. Yeah. Yeah. And Bash wants to, like, negate it completely.
Oh man, it was the kiss of death when Bobby said that to him. It was just like, never should have invited him to the show. It was over now at this point. And I think for me, watching Bash, like, nix it right there on the spot, and how angry he was. He was literally he's angry himself. Yeah, he is, absolutely. And so here he is, he's like seething inside, like, I can't believe you made me sit here thinking that I would be interested in an act like this. Right. Like, this is not magic, this isn't juggling, this is what people want that are gay. Like, like in his head, that's like what he's saying to himself. And then he said, you know what, I'm not interested in the show, but maybe you can give my wife. Yeah.
The way he said it, my wife.
Yeah, like, let's be really clear here.
Oh. But that last beautiful moment of Bobby and Sheila sitting in that back dressing room. I called it last episode that they're going to become friends. Yeah. Or at the beginning of the episode that they were going to be friends. And I think they will. And to see her take that wig off and for him to brush it for her was just...
Was that beautiful?
You didn't have to have words. It was just a beautiful, beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was friendship, like you said, this friendship that's budding, and he needed her at that moment,
and she needed him.
Yeah. Poor guy. All he wanted to do was keep his career moving forward,
Of course, and he's got a son.
Yeah. Oh, I was heartbroken.
Guys,
I was so heartbroken.
There was a beautiful closing to the scene, and it makes me so much more excited to go and watch episode 5. So thank you guys so much for coming back and watching our after show for episode 4. You won't want to miss any more of our commentary for episode 5. So go back over to Netflix, come back to us. You can find us in social media. Well, you can find me specifically on social media at Candice R. Cruz. And where can they find you?
Look for at Little Egypt on Instagram, Twitter, and then Facebook. It would be Glow Little Egypt for an amazing album and go down this rabbit hole that I've been building since 2008.
That's amazing.
Collecting photos and making sure that we have a catalog for you to follow and enjoy the story of the original story of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Definitely go down the rabbit hole. All the nostalgia. Guys, be sure to comment below. Give us conversation. Let us know what your thoughts are on all the episodes. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.